So from the K&J Magnetics Warm Room, a very pleasant good morning. And welcome to draw number 10 of the Crooked Billet Bonspiel 2019. Coin toss just being made right now. Pat O'Donnell appears to have lost the toss, as she always does. It will be Manybeers O'Donnell and his rank with Brent Larson, everybody's favorite Minnesotan, Sarah Fry and Pat O'Donnell, versus Ardsley with Danny Steski, Tom Vespo, Keith Weisbauer, and Joe Pinella. This is a C event game. We are at the point where you lose, you go home. So the rubber definitely meets the road at this time. So Bucks County having lost the toss. Will throw the center guard, Pat O'Donnell. Throwing to her little brother, Manybeers. Nice guard there by Pat. Joe trying to draw underneath is going to be a little bit narrow to that, so it will leave two guards in the free guard zone. Our first draws are off the ice. Our 8 o'clock draws, it was some of the first loser out draws. So we see some shots being done throughout the warm room, and it's never too early. Oh, I know this bank. Which one you got there, partner? And we're joined by your friend and mine, the birthday boy, our favorite Canuck, Wayne Anderson. Happy birthday, Wayne.
Thank you very much, Dave. Happy to be here. No better way to spend a birthday than doing my favorite thing, hanging out at the Bucks Curling Club.
Absolutely.
So we got 4 C event games going on here. Is that right?
Yeah, this is all C event. This is all lose, you go home.
Okay. Well, that's a motivation to try and pull this one out.
It does have to happen at some point during a spiel for sure.
Yeah, although they could stay and have free beer and wine for all today and tomorrow.
Well, they certainly could. So Sarah Fry looking to draw underneath here. Looks to be a skosh wide. Maybe play the tap instead.
And probably needs to hit something in order to stop as well.
Oh,
so.
it's gonna hit. It's gonna hit it. It might actually take that under.
It just needed a little bit more. Weight actually wasn't too bad. Did need to hit something.
Yep. So it is Team Manybeers against Team Steski.
And Manybeers lots of times does live up to that nickname, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Anyone who, well, he is a frequent lead man here in the booth, and
that was. I am always interested in the technical side of deliveries, and that was an excellent line of delivery that we just saw there. And not surprisingly, as an end result, the shot was made right smuck on the nose. Beautiful line.
Yeah. Keith does have a good line for sure. It looks like Sarah slid out wide but corrected back.
Yeah, you know, that's something that every time I'm working in practice with the juniors or even some adults I'm working with, I'll stand halfway down the sheet, and after they throw a rock at my broom, I'll ask them, how did that feel? And it's really asking for two things. How did it feel in terms of your line? Did you feel you were flowing right at that broom, or did you feel you were fighting to get back in, or you slid narrow and had to get back out? So that's the first part of how it felt. And then the second part is, how did you feel the release? No matter where you slid, did you feel you released right back at the broom, or did you continue to let the rock go where you were sliding wide or narrow? Or so how did the release feel? And that's an example where the last one, you're saying she did a great job of, despite sliding wide, didn't just let the rock continue to go there. She put it right back at the broom and makes the shot. So you don't have to have a perfect alignment, but it makes life a whole lot easier and a lot more consistent if you can get that line going where you're feeling like you're flowing at the broom.
Oh, that's for sure. So, and right now we're going to see a little bit of a different delivery here with Brent Larson. Brent Larson throws the Manitoba tuck delivery.
That's right. Not something that, you know, Canada or U.S. teaches, but top curlers, especially in Western Canada, do use it. And if I find someone, even a junior coming in that has the tuck and they throw it well, I don't change them. I mean, it can work.
It seems to me that getting down that low gives you a real sense of where you are in relationship to the broom.
Yeah, I think you have an advantage on the takeouts. I mean, that's generally, with the lower you go, the better you've got that rock right in front of you.
Because you almost feel like you're reaching out and touching the stone that you're hitting, right?
Yeah, and you're basically releasing through the rock rather than over it. But you do sacrifice, I think, a little depth perception for your weight. And maybe that last one would have been helped if he's a little higher.
Yeah,
but we'll forgive him on the first end.
Absolutely.
Where your weight is.
Well, you know, if Brent heard that first commentary, he'd say, geez, come on, let a guy get broken in and warmed up just a little bit. Come on.
That's a pretty good imitation. I could recognize that voice.
God. Jeez. Brent's our favorite Minnesotan.
Yeah. No, especially amongst the women here in the club. They love him.
Brent has the following of the ladies of the club beyond all explanation, really. And when presented with it, Brent once said, geez, I wish I knew I had this 30 years ago.
When it could have done me some good, eh?
What?
But look at this. Did he make enough of an adjustment?
He made an adjustment. It just wasn't enough.
Just not enough.
So he'll go back and say, sorry.
Well, you know, whether you're talking about line of delivery or weight, one thing that I always suggest to people is that they overcorrect on the next one and make sure that, you know, rather than continuing to try and back off enough until you find the right weight, throw the next one and say, I'm going to make sure I use my sweepers on this one. If you go through the house on the first one, say, hey, all right, I may end up being light, but I'm going to find the other, and then start narrowing it in, you know, rather than just going in one direction, lighter. I think you'll find your weight a whole lot faster if you make that adjustment that you overcorrect.
So Mark's going to, for those of you who haven't figured it out, Mark and Manybeers are the same person. But Mark's trotting down the ice, and he's going to try to draw under. Brent's holding the broom for him.
Looking pretty athletic trotting down there, you know. I mean.
Yep. Mark has 56 different pairs of loudmouth pants.
56.
Yes.
He's
on a subscription. Draw's coming down.
Now, the ice started out a little slower than Buck's standards there in the first game, but by the end of the game, it was getting up to a very nice speed.
Well, this is 13-8, so I would expect this to be in the back of the house.
Yeah. And for those of you who may be just starting out in curling that might be listening here, that 13-8, what exactly are you talking about there, Dave?
Well, that's timing between the hog lines, and that's really the most accurate timing because it takes the curler's release out of the equation.
Yes, because people can slide out at whatever speed they want, and the rock end up in the same spot, right?
That's correct.
So the back line to the hog line, not really good. So
yeah, you really have to be playing with the team, you know, objectively for us looking at folks who we don't see play on a daily basis. Yeah. Any kind of short time is really irrelevant to us.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the long time, so regardless of the person's delivery then, you can get a long time when the opposition is throwing, right? Rather than just standing there and shooting the breeze. If someone's throwing a draw down a path that hasn't been used yet, you might want to get your stopwatch out and say, well, exactly how's this path running? You know, we know that 14 and a half down the path we've been running is getting to tee, but what about out here?
Absolutely. So Danny's coming on down here. They are brushing hard for line. I think they're going for weight too, because that is 15 flat.
Oh, just rubbed. Oh. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, a lot of sweeping. A lot of sweeping because they were dragging it with the weight.
Yeah, that would have been. I think that would have been full top four, fully buried. If that just one more inch wide there.
Just another inch, Wayne.
Just another. So, what a difference an inch makes, though. Wide open hit now instead of being totally buried in the forefoot.
Yep. So Mark's going to try to make this takeout. Mark is. Plays on my team often in a Bonspiel, not this one. We affectionately refer to his delivery as a monkey on a surfboard.
And yes, looking at him, I mean, you folks are not, well, I guess they do. They don't get to see that at home. But it's what Dave's talking about. He pulls, instead of his...
Get the mint from home.
I was going to say, don't you have like acres of mint?
I do.
Instead of letting his hack foot and hack leg, the one that drives out of the hack, extend straight behind him, he actually pulls it up, and the knee is right underneath him so that he's squatting as he comes out. But it's a very balanced looking delivery and very effective, as you can see that red rock has disappeared. So here's the hammer shot for the end.
Yeah, he's facing two.
It certainly looks like that is there. We had one that looked about that close last time, and they brought out the biter bar. And I was saying last game, the only two times that you can measure a rock during the actual playing of an end is if that was a lead rock that ended up there. That's if it's out of the house, it's a free guard zone rock. If it's biting, it's in. So you do get the ability to call in the measuring stick to see whether it's a biter.
Well, Danny's using the sweepers here, and he has two really good ones in Joe and Keith.
Oh, yeah. And even if it's heavy, he's got backing. It's right on path. So
that's a beautiful draw by Danny Steski, so will be a score of 1.
It's beautiful.
So I told Danny before the draw that the level of courtesy I would show him during this broadcast was directly proportional to the number of derby squares that he bought.
So you can be bought.
Oh, yes, I'm cheap. And apparently we are all cheap because Comrade Cocktails is offering us a fine beverage here.
Very smooth.
Let's go for that. It's the birthday boy's, birthday boy has to have a shot.
I would never have it except that it is my birthday. Yeah, I'll... It's hard to turn it down on a yes, 39 it is.
A happy 39th birthday to Wayne Anderson.
Yeah. The fact that I have a daughter who's almost 39 has nothing to do with the truth of that age. Oh, obviously. Well,
happy birthday,
you.
Wayne.
Thank
Nostrovia, Slancha, and all that jazz.
Right.
Thank you, Cocktails.
Yes. All right.
Oh, he has his name tag, too. That was Michael Collins, Comrade Cocktails.
Yes, and I'm feeling warmed up after that little sip, and I'm sure the commentary will improve as a result of that. So when we left off, you were saying that you could be bought, and
Yep.
What exactly are people buying you with there?
We have the Derby pool here, so it's we're doing a block pull on the Exacta to support the club. We're not really, that's the only fundraising element of the Bonspiel that we're doing. We're not doing any raffle nor 50-50 or any of that jazz, or just one deal. We try to do that. Everybody knows they come to a Bonspiel, and a little bit of help for the club is always appreciated. So rather than bombard people with 12 things, we just look for one thing most of the time.
Yeah. In this end here, I like what both teams did. The center guard by the team without Hammer, we're in the second end. It's its score is close, it's only 1-0. And then Manybeers asked to, you may have asked for a draw to the wings or a guard, but lots of times teams will actually ask for the rock to come to the back quad in the side. And, you've heard me say, Dave, you've said the advantage of always having rocks in front of the tee line.
Absolutely.
But the one time you might want to do this is when you're sort of not if you want it in the house, if you go to the wings up top, then the other team can hit and roll to the button behind their guard. You draw to the back quad.
Right.
You could say yes, they could freeze on it, but they're not going to. Or if they try that, they've fallen into exactly what you want, playing to the open side, and you might get not get the perfect freeze out of them, and you're able to get a couple going. And definitely, if you are wanting to blank the second last end, that's a very popular one.
Sure.
To draw to the back quad.
So we have Pat drawing down to the stone just thrown. I think the call is to just get under that cover somehow, but this is a good outcome.
Yep. Takes that red. Totally, that red is never going to score.
And Danny's just going to stack it up, and I would be able to bet most of the tea in China that the score is going to be 1 for someone.
Or more.
That appears to be just a touch light.
Yeah, and taking the break, it may be actually on the guard out there, just rubbing it, giving two.
Now you have corner guards.
Corner guards, yeah, just a little off center, not perfect corner guards, but.
Mark is electing to draw to the top and, cover up the draw path, although it is available from the other side as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah Fry.
Yeah, the problem, I say they're not perfect corner guards in that for the team with the hammer, like corner guards, they are blocking the path to the button at this point in time. They're just a little tight.
The draw from Sarah here a little bit heavy, and we'll have the unfortunate. So what's that about that Red Rock never scoring?
All right. Well, didn't see that one coming.
No. So, of course, this is not the only game we have going on right now. Over on Sheet A, we have Utica versus our friends from Diamond State, who we commentated on yesterday.
Yeah, they were actually very complimentary. Happy to go back and review that game, Dave.
They listened to what we said, and they were actually okay with it?
Yes, it's amazing.
Oh, dear Lord.
They said it was okay. They appreciated the input.
Well, you put on a clinic of strategy and good thoughts for people to have while playing. It was really enjoyable morning draw.
I don't know whether we have anyone actually listening to this
no, I haven't checked
dialogue
yet.
that we've got going on here, but maybe if they have any questions on strategy or any aspect of curling, we're always happy to kill some time in between shots or ends talking about things that you might have on your mind. Here's a shot, just a little hot, but it may come across enough to catch that, just enough, nicks the rock in the biting the forefoot and comes back. And now, once again, that red rock is not going to score, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Dave says, that's what my wife says when I'm not paying attention. She says, you're not listening to me, you're looking at your phone, and he is. But he's doing business here. He's actually checking in on what's happening on the website here.
Yeah. I'm not listening to you at all right now.
No, you're not. You're just checking your email. All right.
Yeah, well, I'll explain to you the drama of what I'm checking later, but
okay.
we don't want to. We don't want to immortalize.
Yes.
This one.
All right. So we've got, and they're continuing to draw into the center here, and this is nicely done. Top of the house.
Yeah, it's Manybeers is not a fan of that, so going to ask Brent to throw the hit, and this should be right up his wheelhouse.
That's right. We were talking before. He's got the advantage of being nice and low, looking right down the rock, right at the broom. And
so the warm room is heading out because here at Cinco de Billet, after the lout draws, we have piñatas. Piñatas, indeed, and the piñatas are filled with airplane bottles of alcohol of questionable quality.
Oh, just tick that guard. Brent, you're letting us down on the advantages of that tuck delivery there. Very close. So you mean this is how much we love the listeners here, the viewers, that we're going to stay here and miss the piñatas so that we can just keep babbling on about what's happening.
And we're talking to 4 people other than me.
Okay.
So thank you.
Yes. Come on down with your comments. You know, you got curling questions, or you got input that you'd like shared with the other 3 viewers besides yourself. Go ahead and share it.
Oh, this is.
But, you know, this is sort of a warm-up act, Dave. You know, we might get into finals later, you know.
Well, I still hope to be in the finals.
All right, the semifinals.
I'm not out of this yet.
Yeah. Yes,
but definitely a warm up on that. So Manybeers is looking to peel off the top one here as Wayne finishes his shooter.
Well, you know, we talked last broadcast that you were leader in the clubhouse with the highest end score of anyone that I had watched with a 6. It was being threatened there last time. We did see a 5-ender pop up, but no one could quite match that 6 that you put on the scoreboard. So you're still, in my book, still the record holder of most points scored in an end. So, listeners, this is the man who scored 6. Whatever he says, you know, you listen.
I was more happy victim of circumstance. We have actually had an 8-ender scored during a bonspiel here last year. Last year at the His and Hers, I believe it was Andy Dunham and Cody and his team scored an 8-ender.
They would be very capable of doing it against a lot of teams.
I believe it. I actually believe that's on the wall at Philly.
I think you are right. I do recollect seeing that.
Relatively unique to have a picture of an 8-ender from another club at your club, but
it is something that I have not had the pleasure of experiencing.
Well, I've spoken to some people and some friends of mine. I spoke to Matt Pring, and he said that he's of the position that he would likely throw away a stone on some, if able to throw an 8-ender, because just not to do it.
Well, you know, I think that may be taking the spirit of curling a little too far. I have no problem with someone trying to score an 8-ender. You can say, well, it's, you know, it's like stealing, I guess running home. It's trying to steal home in a baseball game.
When you're up by 10.
When you're up, you don't do it. But on the other hand, it's such a unique thing. It's like a hole-in-one in golf. You know, the perfect thing. I mean, if you've got the opportunity to have a perfect end of 8, I think that's something that you go ahead and do. I respect Matt's opinion. There's obviously different views on it, but I don't have any problem with someone trying to get that perfect score. you curl all your life, hey, you don't get the chance very often to do it.
Well, and Wayne, if it comes from your mouth, we accept it.
All right, good. And that's a Canadian talking. Who doesn't? The Canadians just don't want to
you're supposed
hurt
to be.
anybody.
You're supposed to be polite.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, you say sorry afterwards. Yeah. All right, we've got lots of backing for this rock to come down here.
So you score 8 and then say sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. Get out of the way for the picture.
Yeah. So just depends where he hits this, whether he sits right. It's going to be in a beautiful spot. It's going to be in a beautiful. Oh,
no.
It rubbed the wrong. I thought he was going to get by that red one.
Yeah, he rubbed that one the wrong way.
So what are we lying here at this point?
It's just the one right now.
But you know, that hitting that blue rock just ever so slightly on the inside could end up line 4. But again, there would still be all. Is this hammer yet, Dave?
Well, no. Manybeers has hammer with blue.
See, I'm glad you. That's why I'm always happy to have you here. You know what's going on in the.
Well, I'm just here to keep things on track.
Right.
How anyone would ever associate that with me is beyond belief. So Danny, just looking to muddle things up here. It does not look like he's playing a hit on the Manybeers stone.
Yes, because certainly Manybeers is going to have all sorts of backing once again if he just comes back. In fact, stopping in the top of the house would be good. I'd want it in the house, though.
Yeah, Keith initially called top 4. Looks to be just a touch lighter than that. So Joe and Keith are pounding it down, and
really doesn't help him out a whole lot.
No, because I think Mark has. He has a draw to plenty of backing, and if you throw it just right, you can get 2 here.
Yeah, you don't have to move it very far, do you?
No, just a touch, a few inches, really.
Yeah.
So on sheet A, Utica scored 1 in the first 10. Over on sheet C, it was Allen Mary and Company scoring 2. And over on sheet D, it was Chesapeake taking the first point.
All right. All close games. Ooh, but on sheet A, we have a lot of blue rocks sitting in the house.
Certainly is. Now here comes Manybeers down with the final stone of the second end. Sarah and Pat, they are pounding it down. Want to make sure it's there. They got to get past the guard. It looks like they are well past the guard. It's all about the weight now. And
nailed it.
That looks pretty good. So count it for 1 for Manybeers. Tied up after 2.
Yeah. So yes, over on sheet A, we've got a blue throwing. Which team is throwing blue here, Dave?
Blue is Utica.
Utica, line 4 at this point.
I think they're line
Maybe
5.
It's close, yes. And
yeah, 4 for sure, close for 5, and
they're throwing. They do not have hammer, but they have 3 rocks lined up behind a long center guard, and they are compounding the problem for red by putting another one on the center line that's tight this time. There's only one option for them, and that's to try and
draw the button.
Draw the side of the button.
Well, we can see the pin, so it is there. And they'll be drawing from the outturn side. So they're coming back in. I wonder if they all got their airplane bottles of goodness.
There seems to be a lot of smiles.
There are some smiles.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe they opened their little bottles
Zach,
already.
did you get your airplane bottle?
It was great, according to Zach. Hey, pull up your, here's...
Hey, so welcome to the booth, Zach Gary. Zach, can you describe the scene that just happened outside?
It was tame early on as the different contestants were trying to figure out the best way to regain their composure after spinning and hitting the pinata blindfolded. But they got some pretty good whacks, and everybody seemed to hit the broom. So.
All right.
The draw on sheet A is going to be
oh,
wide.
You're killing me. You're killing me. It's sailing. Just tick the rock on the button.
And count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for Utica there as a steal.
I mean, you could be on the Canadian broadcast station. Count them up.
Yeah, I went a little Vic there, yeah.
A little Vic, all right. Count them up.
But it's the morning. We're Brian and Zach is Kathy.
Yeah, Zach's a pretty good-looking guy.
Yeah, but Russ, it's great because you love it when you watch the broadcast and you hear Vic saying, "So, would you ever just draw the open side here?" and the answer is always no, Vic. Oh, okay, sorry.
The straight man job. Who you want to be? I'll be the straight man. I'm much more of a straight man than you are, Dave. You know.
And that's okay in this day and age. All right, so
so there you have it. Let's get back to the game. The fans are saying
before we get sued.
Yeah. We got the birthday boy looking on down here. How you doing, man? My fellow.
How many times do you say, let's get back to the game?
Yeah. Eric,
that's what we do.
Eric Sheets celebrating his birthday here. Hey, there's Bill Loffer, the founder of Bucks Junior Curling, walking on by.
God bless him.
Oh, yeah. You know.
Sneak over to the golf course. Curling, golf, birthday.
Oh, going to do a little golf in between games here,
what course are you going to? You going to Five Ponds or Fairways?
Neshaminy Creek.
Oh, Neshaminy.
Oh, and folks watching can see the nice draw around the garden. Unfortunately, just again goes behind that tee line.
Yeah, well, we have quite a few golf courses in very close proximity to Bucks County Curling Club, so it could be a full entertainment destination. We have Fairways Golf and Country Club, Neshaminy Valley, Warminster Five Ponds, and Heritage with a 9-hole course about 3/4 mile north of the club. So a lot of golf available here.
Any chatter this morning online?
There's absolutely no chatter. We have either put people to sleep or
that's probably it.
Watching right now, and 4 of them are right here. Joy wanted to know what you thought of her little,
Yeah. Wayne, apparently Pat Jolly,
That was Wayne.
well, yeah, but it was also your idea, Brian.
I missed that. I was reading here instead.
Okay, well, so apparently Pat Jolly tried to show you the depths of her posterior this morning.
Oh, I missed that. I'm so.
Well, it started out
what
nice.
a.
She thought that she had some plumber's crack showing.
She
And
thought-
then
yeah.
I reminded her that, well, she's being filmed and that they're commenting on it.
Yeah.
And then
Well-
she said, well, if they're commenting, I'm going to give them something to comment on.
You folks missed that. Dave, you can translate or repeat what Brian was saying there.
So, Pat, from time to time, curling involves a lot of lunging and squatting, and with that, the plumber's butt phenomenon can happen from time to time. And Pat Jolly decided to just say, hey, if I'm going to give you a show, I'm going to give you a real show.
Hey, how you doing, Daniel?
Did you see it?
Pat wants to know what I thought of it. I rated it a 10, Pat.
Yes, and that's valid.
Yeah, that's a,
So back to the game.
Did you really see it?
oh, yeah. No.
Brent Larson with the takeout opportunity, and it is looking to be over curling.
But
And Brent goes, jeez.
Jeez. Yeah. But Pat, I do have an imagination, and I know what I would have rated it.
Oh, my.
Well, that's a Vicism right there. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Oh no. Oh no, Tom, no.
Tom was
Oh no.
Oh, that is not a 10. No.
Folks, be happy that you don't have the reverse angle.
Yes.
Oh,
Sealed my eyes.
we had to talk about that right then, didn't we?
Yeah.
Thank God there's only 5 people watching.
Dave, if Tom's career doesn't work out, he might have a backup career as a plumber, so he's got options.
Yeah. Oh man, so it doesn't matter whether you're showing your crack or not. But you can put that on the center line, top 4 foot.
Absolutely.
He drew it right on down to the 4 foot, crack and all.
Yeah.
So the call is for Brent Larson from North Minnesota to come and take this out to lie the 2.
Now that's a tuck delivery. He's got this thing nailed, man.
That looks pretty good, doesn't it?
He's right up the stick. The sweeper's putting a little bit of broom to it now.
That's good. Oh,
Just by.
Wow.
That's how it's done. Well, a little
There you
roll
go.
out, unfortunately, but
it rolled out. So it'd be, if you were scoring that on the 4-point system, is that 3 or 2?
no, yeah, I give that 2. If you lose your shooter, and that goes for folks. Keeping your shooter in play just so important. You lose the shooter, you lose half your points. There always are exceptions to every rule. Obviously, sometimes you actually want to roll out rather than keep your shooter there. But in circumstances where you want it in play, throw that weight that is best chance of keeping that shooter around. Another nice draw. It's clearing the guard by more than a foot, and it's going to be totally buried by the time it's done here.
That's really really good quality ice there. Somebody should compliment the guy who scraped that, Wayne.
Oh yeah, Steve did a great job scraping that ice this morning. Well done. Steve's here right beside me.
There, yep. And we just got a email into the booth. The 80s called and asked Keith for his pants back. Keith is sponsored by Reynolds Wrap.
All right, we're down to skip rocks here. Dave, what's the probable outcome here as we're sitting here? Who's got hammer first of all?
Well,
here?
the hammer belongs to Ardsley. Right now
they're lying one.
They're lying one buried well back. Manybeers is trying to come on in there and sneak in there himself.
Yeah, I think trying to come right around it rather than corner freezing on it. Well, maybe they are trying to corner freeze.
That'd be a good outcome.
Well, thing is though, it's not going to be shot rock corner freezing on the sucker.
So what do you do coming back here if you're Danny?
I think you come around and I think I would actually come around my corner guard.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Come
around the right corner guard. Yeah.
And lie to. And it looks like I'm not quite sure with that ice, whether he's planning to come around the corner or whether he's tapping his rock in the 8 foot. He only has to move it a foot to be lined to. It's my preference, if you can ever draw to a spot, I always draw, especially when you got as much curl as we're getting here rather than tapping. But that's just a little tight to be thinking that he's drawing there, but it might be.
Yeah, so we'll see what we get here. Danny with a slight lift in his delivery.
He's pretty close to being on the brooms, so. But it's not going to go around the outside. Oh, he's got the notice on the house there where they're looking for that brook to stop. And that's a nice thing to do. If you're in the house, put your broom right where you want it to stop and give the sweep. Just don't tell the sweepers for weight to sweep or not. Just put your broom there and get them there.
I do that all the time. Say, leave it here. That came up as a 16-2. It is
all right.
Wayne Anderson and Zach Gary here in the booth.
He is calling the double.
I like
you
it.
called it. We had our fan in the warm room here saying we got a double opportunity
going
coming
for
up
the
here.
double.
Well, Manybeers is a big fan of go big or go home. He's like, well, if I make it, that's great. If not, we get to go to the warm room faster and drink.
Yeah.
Because he has games to call. Just being in the Bonspiel is a nuisance. So here it comes. Manybeers bring it down with a nice control weight.
But he's starting out a little wide on this sucker.
And Pat is trying to divine it over.
And you want to sweep this to get a bye. You do not want to tick. Oh, so close. That was almost going to promote red in for another counter.
Yep. That could have been bad.
It was not going to knock the red out. So.
So it sounds like Dan Pearson just volunteered to join me in a mint harvest for our juleps. We're going to have fresh mint for our mint juleps that we will be serving during the Kentucky Derby.
Now, Bill Nickel was in the warm room here telling them they should throw that double last call. Bill, what do you think of your call now? I mean, obviously the telepathy worked. They called it, but how are you feeling about the result, Bill? I was saying that you called the double there, but what do you think of that now? You obviously used telepathy to get them to call it. Do you think that was the right call now? Yeah. All right, Bill's.
That looks like a two.
All right. Bill said that they were making doubles against him last night, so he sticks by his call that they should have called the double there.
So it's a draw for two for Danny Steski, and
makes no mistake about it.
He made no mistake, so it will be a 2-point lead, 3-1 after 3 ends. And over on sheet D, it is Philadelphia who put up the 4 spot in the second end to take a 4-1 lead over Chesapeake and Triangle with Crazy Julie, God bless you. And the reason why we have fresh mint is because I made the mistake at one point of planting mint at my house.
And
don't ever do that.
You don't have to do anything to get mint to come back.
You will have mint in your entire property for the rest of your life. In fact, mowing my lawn is quite refreshing.
All right, starting off, we got a 2-point lead, so he's coming into the top of the 4-foot and slipping to just ever so slight behind the tee line and going on the offensive here, not bothering to take it out, asking for the freeze.
Well, while I know Pat can throw a lot of takeouts, it's definitely not her preference. So this is the shot that is really more comfortable for Pat, and Mark being a good skip is going to give her the shot that she wants.
Well, she's right up the stick. Whether it's got the right weight or not, it's close. No one's laying a broom to it.
It looks pretty darn good from here, buddy.
Little head. Looks it's going to be about back line. Oh, look at that check up.
Down.
Look at that check up.
That looks pretty darn good, guys.
That looks pretty darn good. Pat said, sit down, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw the right shot. Dave, what do we got on sheet A? Looks like that's the final shot.
And we have a plethora of blue facing our friends from Diamond State. So Julie Yeager is throwing her hammerstone against 3 counting stones from Utica. Now, Utica already does have a sizable lead in this game.
It's better than last end, though, when she was facing 4 on her last shot. So.
Right. So right now they're calling a hit, where I think the draw would be the more sound call.
You're not going to save the shooter because the rocks are all staggered there.
And away it goes, and it's a steal 2 for Utica.
Better than 3.
Recommendation on how many cases would you like to get?
Well, we went through what we had. We went through 4. It won't go bad.
Pat throwing another one into the rings. It may overcurl a bit. We're not sponsored by Labatt, so I can speak as poorly about it as I like.
That's another great weight by Pat.
Yep, putting it in the house.
Another T-line shot.
Yep.
That's what she does. I mean, and Pat is a very good front-end player in terms of calling weight. Mm-hmm. She almost instantly knows where a stone is going to go, and that's very helpful. I mean, yeah, you might have somebody else on the team on the front end that's the gorilla, but she's going to tell that gorilla what to do.
Yeah. Now, when you say she's good at calling, when she's throwing the rock, are you saying that
when
she's
sweeping?
Oh, when she's sweeping, that's invaluable. You know, having a front end player who can do that.
Yeah.
And that's an acquired skill. You know, it doesn't just happen. You can work at that and get better at it.
Yeah, Pat doesn't use this. You know, she is not a stopwatch person. It's fully intuitive, and she within 5 feet of it being released, she knows where it's going.
And hats off to her for not being a stopwatch person. I think you never need more than one person.
You see, right there, right out of Sarah's hand, before Mark even called the sweep, Pat was sweeping.
Yeah, Mark may have been pretty quick on the call too, because that was going narrow all day long.
Nice roll, look at the roll.
Not the worst.
That's a great call to go off your own and roll into.
That's a gutsy call by Manybeers.
Cowbell, Wayne.
Oh, cowbell. Oh, yeah. I see. You know, he's using hands. I'd say he wanted me to sweep something, you know, waving his hand there at me, but it's actually I've got
I went like this, not like that.
All right, so that makes those red rocks.
So we have Keith in his reflective beauty coming on down. With a rock, this is not going to get to the blue, and this is only going to add to the clutter behind the tee line. So
not having a hammer, he would love to not be moving rocks.
Yeah, so I think. Okay, so Manybeers is looking to drill over to the stone. Oh, take a hit actually, rather.
Yeah, and you know, having hammer in this end, I don't have no problem with him moving those rocks right out of there, because otherwise you got a small, what we call a small house, right?
A small scoring zone, yeah.
Small scoring zone. Danny's going to keep trying to shrink the scoring zone down.
Because right now this end looks like we're playing mixed doubles. That's a lovely shot there. Would have preferred being the one on the outside.
Yes, he hit half of one of those rocks, and it would have been better, and then you would have opened things up. But
now I think this next hit that's being called for is going to leave an even more desirable shot for Manybeers. Because the next hit's going to leave the Buckstone in front of the tee line.
Yeah.
So Tom Vespo from Ardsley.
I think Tom might be a little tight on that. They're sweeping hard.
I think he's got enough weight, Zach, that I'm going to predict he's going to get by and get pretty much a nose hit.
Joe's holding that pretty good.
A little bit of a roll.
Oh. Huh.
Oh, I'm waiting for Bill to give me a call here, what he would be looking for. Bill Nichols, come on, give us a skip's view here. Bill only has one shot in his repertoire. He calls doubles. I don't know what do you would call if there's only one rock in the house? Bill, what do you call if there's only one rock in the house? What do you call if there's only one rock in the house? You seem to only like doubles.
I think he tries to double the one in the barn there, Wayne.
So here comes down Brent with a good firm weight, and the line looks pretty good.
It's
a little wide.
It's going to have to
little
curl.
Wide, little wide.
wide.
Have to curl.
He might
Be on the outside one?
Yeah,
plan B might be in his future.
As it is on many a morning.
Well, he kept the double in play.
That's actually not a terrible outcome. But he did, as he did say, it's a small house.
Three out of the 4 stones right now are touching the button.
That's pretty good. Okay, and Danny says freeze. Now that's a bold call here, I think.
That's a great call by Danny.
Oh, sorry, guard rather.
Great, because running the blue back's not going to help Mark at this point because it's going to jam.
This is definitely a shot that has to be made, though. It looks like it has all the weight in the world. It's only about the line right now. It's going to over-curl, I believe.
Is that going to be down to the pile?
It is down to the pile. Now, where do you put it?
It's going to tap the blue a little.
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, that plot just moistened.
What? Looks like Mark is calling for
a guard.
A guard.
So, Zach,
that's a bold strategy.
Let's see how that works out. Now, he asked me to be kind to him during this broadcast. And that's directly proportional to the number of derby squares that he buys.
That's a good deal.
This one, I think Brent might have pulled a Roland here.
I think that Brent was a little heavy, and this is going to be
better than the called shot.
This is a good.
I think Brent just pulled a Roland. Now you fire in that red. I think it shoots through, right?
I think it still catches the back one on its way, but it doesn't jam and sit as it would have before. That's what Danny's looking at.
And this is a really interesting 4-foot and a good study in angles and how you do here. And
Danny's looking at the triple at the moment. If he shaves the shot on the right 4-foot, he will take it out on the back 4 and hit the blue on the side. That is a. They just announced the lunch menu for today.
Yep, we're doing a cookout. Bucks recently procured a lovely big grill.
Cook a lot of burgers on that grill.
That sucker's got 8 burners. Lots of BTUs. We got flat tops for it. We can make pancakes, grilled cheese, cheesesteaks. We can do all kinds of stuff. Literally endless options. It's a huge piece of equipment, which is what she said.
It looks like after all the discussion, Danny decided to throw a guard instead of playing the more aggressive shot.
And there was a good amount of discussion, and rightfully so, because this is potentially a seminal end in this game. And that did not curl up nearly enough, and that does basically nothing. It does guard that draw path. So anything on that side of the sheet's going to have some weight with it.
I think Danny wanted a little more length and a little more distance on that, but who doesn't, right?
That's right. Now, Brent is trying to lend his experience here to Mark some, and I think Mark should be listening. All we can tell right now watching them line this up is that Mark is keeping his hair better than Brent. So it looks like the call is to hit the corner of their own. I kind of like hitting the top red.
When you're skipping, you're always looking for your first shot to set up your second shot. So I would agree there, Dave. I think you ultimately go for that top one. Hit it hard, and looks like Mark is just trying to throw down to the pile with just a little bit of back line weight. Maybe back 8 weight. Just wants to get another one in there and jostle things around a little bit. Sweepers are on it. Looks like it's going to tap things around a bit. That unlocks some opportunities there for Mark on his final shot. So at the moment, Danny Steski is sitting 1, but Mark has surrounded him in the 4-foot.
Yeah, try and look for the path to a multiple here, as one often is. A very tight house with a lot of intricate angles. And Tom and Danny are giving this a good look because this is by far the most interesting end we've had so far. So as they contemplate this, there we go. Diamond State just threw in undercover, so it looks pretty good for a score there on sheet A for them, so that's a good thing. Over on sheet C, it is still a tie game posted after 2 ends between Bucks and Philly. Sheet D saw Chesapeake score a single point to cut that deficit to 4-2. Laura Halsey is threatening with several stones counting right now, and they are on Skip Rocks. So, Zach, as I was doing that recap, what was the call?
The call is to guard that side up, be about top 12. They're just trying to cut off the angle. They looked at all the angles, and they decided that that top red, top 4 rock was the dangerous rock that they want to make sure Mark can't use.
So the next thing which people should sponsor is a telestrator, because I think we're going to want that in a moment.
Oh, it's over curling and a little deep.
So
All right.
for that telestrator that which you want, you can send your donations to Bucks County Curling Club, 1185 York Road, Rank 2, Warminster, PA 18974. And Mark is looking to run that just thrown stone into his own to score a possible 3, I think, Zach.
I think it's going to jam pretty solidly on that back red. You might get a little bit of movement.
It goes that way, though. Of course, you can't see what that way is, but it goes towards the left as we're looking at it on the overhead.
He definitely can run that red back onto the blue. Basically a straight run back. Catch the blue about a quarter of the stone, and he could end up getting enough motion to move that red out. Mark has released. The sweepers are on it.
Coming on down, and it's going to do. It's
Might be a little bit of plan B here.
Going to do something, and it is still 1 for Ardsley. Not after with at least a little bit of drama, and we're rejoined by the Grand Dean of Curling at Bucks County Curling Club, Wayne Anderson.
Well, thank you. And Zach, you were talking about the small house and the downside when you have hammer of shrinking that scoring zone.
Absolutely, Wayne. That was a tough one. As soon as Danny got one in there, then it became challenging to get rid of, and Danny just used the last 3 stones at the end to just continue to guard and continue to pile stones up in the front to ensure that house wasn't going to get any bigger, that scoring area wasn't going to get any bigger.
Yeah, so if you got hammer, take the opportunity lots of times to try and blow it up a little bit and see what happens. Well, I had stepped away there for a little while. One of my daughters, Taylor, gave me a happy birthday call, and she's curling right now in the Lupus Field out there in Minnesota. That's always a good thing. She got all the skips, celebrities there's some really big names from Canada down for it and stuff like that. And I think the last time I looked at it, someone bid $2,000 to be able to have Taylor skip their team. So
that's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, that Lupus Spiel, Regan Burr is the organizer of that, along with her husband Todd.
People cannot just not say no to Regan. She is such a jubilant, outgoing person, and
I head out to Four Seasons every year for the Blazing Brooms, and I took a team out there, and Martha O'Connor, one of our members here, was with us, and I said, hi Regan, this is Martha. You're Facebook friends with her. She's like, I probably am.
I am sure. I don't know how many Facebook friends she has, but I suspect there's a ton of them.
I said, hi, this is Lyle. You're Facebook friends with him. Although that is a true study in how opposites attract, because you couldn't find a more subdued person in Todd.
Yes. Had the pleasure of Todd and John Benton team asking me to coach their men's team when they went to the Olympic trials, and
they did a fine job. Silver at the trials, correct? In that one,
didn't get to silver. I don't think. I think it was bronze. Well, I could be wrong. How quickly you forget, I'm
pretty sure it was second.
Well, there you go.
Or second, or
they
whatever.
They made it to the playoffs,
yeah.
And they were certainly a threat. I know probably Derek Brown, head of the high performance, was probably nervous that they were going to go all the way. And you get into the finals of a spiel. I mean,
yeah.
Dave, even a team like you, if you can get to the finals, you could win.
It does happen from time to time.
No, you get down to the Final Four at that level. Surely,
you did a good job, and
get hot. Anyone can win.
And leaving all the politics and drama that was associated with that aside, they proved that they deserved to be on that ice.
Oh, absolutely deserved to be there. Todd, he just is clutch. Don't leave him a draw to the side of a button when he's facing forward, because he'll find that side of the button when he's drawn there.
Well, it's tough to play an ice maker.
They should be able to read the ice, right? Spend enough time doing it. Well, just a little narrow right out of the gate on that one. Didn't quite get the slide out to the broom, and took off there.
So Keith, along with his pants sponsored by Reynolds & Reynolds.
Boy, that is some shiny pants, eh?
He's wearing a Broomstone's Francis Dykes shirt. That is from about 5 years ago.
Okay.
When he was on my Dykes team.
Oh.
I met him at the Spiel.
So not a lot of practicing before the event.
We had great chemistry.
Well, he ended up putting a pretty nice guard on there, a little longer than he might have wanted, but the line was good.
And Keith has become quite the strong curler in his own right, both as parts of the team and skipping it as well.
Looks like Mark's going to try to take advantage of that back four shot and sit right down on it.
Yeah, Mark always favors calling a draw game. That's his MO.
Sweepers are
Well, you know,
Not on it.
No, just a little bit wide and just that ever bit heavy. Not by much.
good morning,
In
Rob.
fact, the weight was just fine, just a little wide.
Good morning, Rob Young. Happy to see that you're listening as well. Speaking of enthusiastic curlers, certainly one of them. Member of Plainfield and Bucks on occasion, and great volunteer spirit. So that one being just a little bit deep, we have Tom attempting the takeout on it. Curling hard for line because it looks like it's going to be on theirs first, I do believe.
It's close.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
changes things just a touch. And Mark's going back to that small house deal again.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a back line weight on this one, trying to get the inside of that red and rolling over a little bit rather than
that looks
freezing on it.
that looks closer to that base in the broom, right?
Yeah. I mean, it might well be Mark's intent for this one to move it and get it back.
It's not curling that much. I think Brent might have been eating his Wheaties this morning. I think it's just a little bit heavier, but I think it's right what you were looking for, Wayne.
Yeah, it's actually going to kick it out. If they'd actually swept that a little bit, could have swept it out and lay second and third, which I would have been a whole lot more comfortable with rather than trying to hope that it curled enough.
So passing along, happy birthday wishes. Happy 39th birthday from Jack Santoro.
Thank you, Jack.
And Rob says, hey, Coach Anderson, happy birthday.
All right. Thank you very much, folks. I am enjoying it. I have a love for this game, and there's nothing I'd rather do on my birthday than go out and scrape ice and talk to you fine folks.
I still love that we got you to do a shot at 10 a.m.
Oh, look at this one.
Look at this
oh,
one.
Oh, no, that took off.
Oh.
I'm afraid we might have had our first pick here looking at the end.
That was a beautiful unintended double there.
All right.
So he's calling for the hit and roll in there. You know, hit and roll over, maybe make the double.
Yeah, I like this. I like.
Do you like this turn? I think I prefer the other turn.
I like the turn where he makes the shot. You know,
That's a good answer, Wayne.
whichever one he's more comfortable at. A lot of people like the outside in, like it's called here, because it will run a little straighter than doing the inside out. But
Well, he's going to get the hit. I don't think he's going to roll over. He rolled a skosh, but not enough.
But, you know, rather than calling a straight draw, I like the hit. I mean, you know, it's only a 4 to 1 ball game. So don't shrink that house again by calling a freeze and everybody freezing on top of it.
Yeah, definitely want to keep that a little more open.
And he got Brent throwing a hit, which he's a little bit more predetermined to do as opposed to a draw.
Yeah. Now, with only 2 rocks form remaining after this shot that Dan's throwing, if the same situation arose at that point, I'd be fine with him coming around trying to go around that guard and freeze. But,
Oh, sure, absolutely.
But there was an opportunity on that last one to hit and roll. If he'd gotten that shot, it would have been really nice.
I like having Brent on my team at second often. It's usually where I like to put him.
And why you find a strength in him at second there?
Well, a little bit more comfortable with the hit, and definitely good with the sweeping as well.
I really like the weight Daniel's throwing on this one.
Ooh, nice little control.
Nice control weight. You know, there's no doubt if he makes contact, the rock's out of the house, he's got the lead. Make sure it goes. And up, not broom.
I like the position of that one too. He didn't try to roll under. You know, there would be a natural desire to try to want to roll under, but then you can set up a double. There's lots of other things. Keeping them separated like that makes it a little bit more difficult.
Score posted over on sheet D, and it is Laura Halsey, John Moylan, Pat Capella, and Michael Glessner with a 7-2 advantage now after a putting up another multiple.
Now, the rocks are a little different right now. It's going to be very difficult to hit, and he's got the broom up beside the rocks. I presume he's calling the hit here. I mean, if he's calling the freeze, he'd be back on the tee line, I think.
I believe he's actually calling the draw.
Okay.
Definitely coming out with draw weight.
I like the draw a whole lot better. I was worried that he was going to call a hit.
Sweepers are on it right away.
And Mark himself is sweeping.
There you go, a little mixed doubles. Throw your rock and get up and help sweep.
Line's not looking,
if they can
line's
get,
looking decent.
If they can get it there. If they can get it there, they're pounding it hard. Manybeers has got on it. He's on his own stone. And
but that was the right call to draw down onto that one at this point.
It was a great call. He just could not pound his stone hard enough.
Looks like Danny's trying to decide whether he wants to put a little offense or a little defense.
I play defense right now. The offense is there. I'm already sitting two.
Yeah, I would not play defense in trying to remove that blue rock, though. I mean, it's out counting one red, but bad things can happen.
I throw a guard.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw a guard.
Just put a guard up and
guard. I think he was trying to decide whether he wanted to guard the red or guard the blue there. Whether he wanted to give Mark the tap or force Mark to throw a difficult hit or a difficult draw with no backing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think actually, well, the thing is, you can get to that back red one on the out turn too. I mean, sometimes I'm sure you've noticed this, Zach, Dave, that people start looking at the same path all the time. We've been coming around the middle all the time, but the out turn going right wide around that rock, you can draw to that back one that way as well.
A lot easier, yeah.
Tapping your own rock up. So.
Yeah, everybody always seems to be obsessed with outside in, whatever side you're on. Everyone always feels like a stone has to swing that way. Where it's allowed.
The rocks do go both ways.
They do go both ways. It's a bold new world.
Yeah. All right, so he did a great job of stopping the tap. And that's. Bill wants to know what the call is now. I know what's in his mind. He's looking for a double somewhere.
Hey, there we go. Mark just took a peek on the other side of the sheet there.
Mark's going to draw down the other side, and Brent's saying, "Oh, you're saying, well, you could try to hit that, but that's no good. So you should just throw it over here. Just bring it in."
All right. Well,
Jeez.
These are obviously very experienced teams out here. They're not getting sucked into just looking at one possibility. They're looking at that out turn draw that we were talking about.
Yeah, and Brent's been around the block a few different times. Curling up in International Falls, Minnesota, where he would, with his team, walk across the bridge to Canada to go curl to avoid the toll.
All right, well, Bill Nichols is a little disappointed that there's no double attempt being attempted. And this is a pretty good line. He's not wide of the broom. He's got him. I'm glad to see them sweeping it.
They got to go.
They got to get
Sweepers
by
are
that
on it
guard.
early. Got to stay on it.
Once you get past this, you should be in a good spot. On it hard all the way. You're past the first guard. Now you're going to get past your own. I think you will, and you're going to have your one.
Oh,
That's
my
a
goodness.
beauty.
There it
That's
is.
a beauty.
Cowbell worthy.
Cowbell worthy.
All right. What a shot.
It's a
A
good
sigh of relief coming out of Manybeers on that one.
Ice running through his veins. Just decides it's just going to draw.
Well, somebody should make sure that Miller Lite's running through his veins.
Yeah, I would think he would walk up and to go to the chalkboard there and write Manybeers needed, after that shot.
Get Manybeers a beer.
Oh, there's Dave putting in a request for a beer for Manybeers.
Oh, excuse me for a moment. I have to go see a man about a horse.
Okay. Dave selling horses. All right. We talked the other day about Fezray, Zach, and the elements to take into consideration when you are deciding how to strategize, tactics to use in an end. And he's using the F here in Fezre. That's the free guard zone. Make sure that you take full advantage of that, especially when you're losing here. You need those rocks. Kills you when that lead rock comes into the house and you're down, right?
Absolutely. Danny showed in the last end when Pat threw a little heavy and into the house that he was ready and willing to take them out and reduce down the opportunities.
Very happy to do so. So that center line guard, very good. Of course, Dan's not looking for his rock to be in the house. Now, here's an example for those new to curlers. The free guard zone, you can move a rock. You just can't eliminate opponent's rock from play. And that word opponent is very important because sometimes your first lead rock isn't where you want it. And you are allowed to remove that free guard zone rock if it's your own.
That looks like that was the called shot from Danny. He was trying to get a little back line, just push that blue over to the side, just get it out of the middle. Not take it out of play, but he'll worry about that stone later. It might not even come into play by the end of the end.
Exactly. And if he wanted to play super defensive, he now has it out of the free guard zone by moving into the house, and he can hit that if he wants to next time.
So they're on this one hard to get it across.
Now, a mistake sometimes teams make is if an opponent has hammer and they end up and the opponent has the lead and wanted the rock in the house. They were calling to come into the house, and it stops short of the rings. What you want to do is actually put a guard on their guard that's sitting on it as a 3 guard and put a 2 guard, because if you don't, and you come around it, they're going to peel their own guard. They've got the lead. They don't want that rock out in front of the house. So don't be afraid to guard an opponent's guard.
Right, because you want guards. You really don't care what color they are.
Yeah. But if you leave it open and come around, they're just going to peel their own rock.
Yep. If the stone isn't too far into the house, it's just biting. That's another great opportunity to just throw a guard up in front of there, because you got plenty of room to draw around it and use their shot as a guard.
Yeah. And talking about using an opponent's rock, sometimes it gets down to the last end and you're desperate to try and get a deuce. The other team draws one into the top 8 foot, or has the rock in the top 8, and you're down to Vice's rocks or something like that. You don't have any other rock in play besides that one rock. Draw around theirs. Don't bother freezing on it. It's so hard to make a perfect freeze these days. Teams can throw big weight and get rid of them. Draw around it to the back 8, and all of a sudden you use that rock, even if it's in the house, as a guard.
So last shot by Sarah, the weight was there. It just needed to be just a stone over to our left. So
Danny's trying the
Pat move.
The patented hand wave to get the stone to move.
Well, and they're sweeping directionally to try and make it.
There we go.
Curl.
And so, Wayne, that brings us to that topic since you opened Pandora's box. What do you think of directional sweeping?
Well, certainly not what it used to be. I mean, in the past, before they changed the rules on the broom heads that you could use, it was definitely a real thing. You could back rocks up. And so, I mean, teams, they would actually also directionally sweeping, teams would actually throw a rock heavier, even on a draw, than they wanted, because they could sweep in a certain, going crosswise to actually slow the rock down, you know. So they would make sure that they could slow it down, or they could directionally sweep to speed it up. Yeah, it was, and even my junior team, we would go out and practice just to see how effective we could be on directional sweeping. And not only could you make it curl more, you could actually back it up on certain ice conditions. They were strong, and if you had the right broom, you know.
One which damaged the ice.
Yeah, well, I mean, the old, the
hair brooms.
The hair broom is exactly, that was almost your best thing. You get a hair broom and you could really start directionally sweeping it.
I guess that caught the hair broom manufacturer off guard a little bit. Everybody calling up for orders.
Yeah, exactly. But now, you directional sweeping on draws when it gets down slow is still there. I'm not a big believer that if you've got any kind of takeout weight that you're helping it.
Well, takeout weight's what's coming here from Brent Larson, and we're trying to shoot through the port here and get down to the rock in the 4-foot. They are on it, and they are past the first guard, and it's going to roll just off, but that's a nice effort.
You're going to hear the cowbells going crazy here in the club.
Absolutely, the warm room improves.
I got Robin here. I'm going to move this cowbell right over. She did such a great job in that last game, managing the cowbell appropriate. She had all sorts. You had half a cowbell for half a good shot. You had a full cowbell for something like that. You know, fine tuning it.
So it looks like they're going to draw the other side of the house. Or tap.
I think that was a tap there, the call.
You know, one of the things that teams really want to remember regarding sweeping, I think even more important than the directional when it comes to draws, is to make sure that you don't go so hard at the beginning in the first half that you don't have enough gas to go hard in the last half. It's that last half where you're getting most of the benefit out of your sweeping. The first half, the rock's going to go pretty much on the line. It's going to go on anyway. But you really want to be going hard and furious with lots of good pressure as that rock is crossing that hog line all the way to the house. And if you've gone hard, most players can't go end to end and be really effective at the end. I've seen people almost like in slow motion dying on their broom when it gets to the end, and that's really when they need to have something in the tank to be going hard.
Yeah, and that's when everybody says the skip shouldn't run out and sweep. But if you have people guess, the skip can run out and tap out for someone.
Oh, absolutely. I have no problem with them because lots of times the line's not that important. Plus, the person dropping out can call the line.
Or frankly, the shooter can call the line.
Yeah.
As long as that team communication is there, that he knows that if the skip is running up, somebody else needs to be paying attention to that. So Brent flashed his peel attempt. Now we have another draw coming down here from Tom Vespo. It is going to get in the...
It's going to stop just a little short.
A little bit short.
A little short.
Now, I kind of liked Mark drawing down to the back the first time. I think, and that's what he's going to do now. I wasn't the biggest fan of the peel attempt that Brent threw. Lunch is being served at the Bucks County Curling Club. It smells good in here. Matt Schulteis has 2 hot dogs with extra slices of cheese.
Well, poor Diamond State, the skip is going to probably be looking at a bunch of, again, the way the end is shaping up here. But Robbins pointed out to me that, it's great that, new clubs like this coming out here, I mean, they're not used to ice that's, 14.8 seconds hog to hog.
Oh, man. And it's a shame we just complimented our ice because we had the worst pick of the day.
Oh, my goodness.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that rock's going right off the sheet. But, they come from a club where it's all negative ice, not used to the curl you're getting here. It's a lot heavier, and all of a sudden you got to come out with this fast ice, come out a lot sore. And I understand they're even using all borrowed equipment. Their sliders, brooms, and all that's all borrowed. So they're coming up against a tough Utica squad there that's much more experienced and in the game.
We're going to take a look because we have a little bit of a delay on the YouTube feed, so we can watch that last stone by Manybeers. And take a look at this, boys.
All right, folks, you're watching. We were ahead of you. Right there.
Oh, wow.
There, there
Wow.
it goes.
That was
What a pick.
So there goes an example. If you're out of the hand, your shot is looking pretty good. You might want to keep your broom down there and just slightly clean the ice. You're not going to change anything. Avoid something like that.
Because that was unfortunate. And Danny, saw what Manybeers' plan was and said, well, not going to let him do that.
Yes, lots of times when the player misses the first shot and you're trying to decide what to do in your next one, that's a pretty good call. It's just sort of say, I'm not going to let him have the same shot twice at it.
Yep, so Mark is going to try to draw with the other turn.
Yeah, and that's all that's there, but, a tough port.
It's
He's
tougher
probably
than,
got
tougher than it was.
I don't think he's got more than a rock and a half. Might be less than a rock and a half.
Yeah,
Mark's asking for more ice, and I think
all three of us groaned at that.
Oh, boy.
Maybe he knows something about his delivery that we don't.
Let's just hope he misses the broom.
We're all sitting here thinking he might have asked for a little extra. That
I'm standing here, and
Mark,
he was inside the stick, so that's a good thing.
Mark actually hit the broom of the original ice. So somewhere in his mind, he knew what he had to throw. This is going to be close.
Not bad. Come on over.
Oh, he's just going to wish he hadn't moved that broom out those 4 inches.
Oh, man. He wants those 4 inches back.
Yeah. Oh, that's an expensive one. Oh, we're not over yet. We still got 2 more to.
No, we are over. This
Hey, sweetheart. Rachel Howell in the house. All right. Now, if you can pick a player to be on your team, go pick up Rachel Howell. A lot of fun, but more importantly, or just as importantly, good curler, great curler.
So this is the Hammerstone coming up for Dan.
Danny just checked those first top 2 shots out. I think he's just.
And Danny and Manybeers just motioned back that, he's looking at giving up 4 here. And.
Did he get that beer that you were supplying him?
He got that beer, and he's probably going to have a few more.
All right, Bill always looking for 2. Bill never has never a simple shot out of Bill. He's looking for a split right now.
I actually think that's what Danny called.
No, he split the top ones for 5.
Danny's trying to split the top one in.
I think he can actually make both of those top ones count and score 5. So we'll actually get to that one. It's a stupid shot. But
I would have thought Bill Nichols would have called for a double. Just a cross house. Maybe that red one's in the way there. But
are on it. This looks good. Looks like Danny's just taking his 3.
Nice little draw for 3, and that's very well. And we're joined in the warm room by Jay Rusick.
Oh my goodness, Jay was.
We talked about Jay yesterday, and then here is Jay.
Hey Jay, welcome to the room. Hey, why don't you grab my headset? Here, I'm going to put these on Jay. Jay, sit down there for a minute.
Go ahead. Jay, how you doing?
Wow.
And welcome to the broadcast, Jay.
These are all warmed up, Wayne.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. I come from the Wayne Anderson Curling School way back when. Where the first thing they taught you was it's good to have the hammer, but not the whole game.
Well, you
don't want to hold on to that hammer for too long.
Well, you showed up at the right time because it's actually the end of the broadcast as we have handshakes.
After.
Oh, man. So since the only game we're looking at right now, just to give you a quick update, it is Philadelphia with Alan Marion Company holding a 4-stone lead.
On sheet C?
On sheet C, indeed. And on sheet D, it is definitely looking very Philly-ish, 10-2. in that C event match, and Utica with a very firm grasp of their game against Diamond State. Diamond State with the hammer. Facing one Utica Stone right now, but up by 7. So we have coming up a scrape and then a draw, which I hope that the commentators are kind to me.
Hey, Dave, I heard that you were playing in the quarterfinals, too.
I am. I will be on this sheet next draw.
Oh, you going to give us a little strategy hints?
Yeah, what is your approach there, Dave? What's your team thinking?
Hit them hard or what?
Right now, our plan is to end up with more rocks in the house than our opponents.
You just want to be happier when the game's
So you're not
over
looking to
than
win.
you?
You're just looking to win the rock total.
We'll see how that works out. So right now, for Wayne Anderson, Zach Gary, Jay Rusick joining us, our engineer Jim Fannin, Grand Imperial Poobah Greg Danks. A very pleasant good afternoon, and we will catch you later.